Yo, yo, what up? All right, so, oh man, where do I begin with this? It seems that there's a lot of problems with people who have addictions going on, even in my own life, okay? But I'm hearing a lot from parents and a lot of people who have like a brother or a sister or a child or somebody who's got issues with addiction, okay? And even in my family, ourselves, we have a few, okay? My son, okay, which is my wife's second boy, he's adopted from birth, and really damaged emotionally because of the way that he grew up being adopted. Her first husband killed himself. He's pretty messed up emotionally, right? And I always knew when he was young, I'm like, man, if this kid ever discovers drugs, we are seriously fucked. Like, because he was already displaying that kind of behavior, you know. And sure enough, he did. And that was whenever he was about 13. And he's been in it ever since. Now he lives on the streets. He's homeless. Breaks my wife's heart every single day. Because, you know, for years we've been expecting that phone call. You know, that phone call from the sheriff, you know, saying, we found your son's body, right? Which is very, very, very heartbreaking, right? So, and it's always in the back of our minds every day, right? So, and this is what I'm about to teach you guys. I didn't learn until just literally 2.5 years ago, right? Because, you know, we've been dealing with this for so long with our boy. And I actually use this on myself as well too, you know, because I grew up in a very messed up situation, which led to me having a bunch of emotional issues myself, and which led to me being triggered through his behaviors, right, and also ruining my own relationship in the process because of how I was reacting to the situation because of my own issues, right? And my wife too, she had her own issues from, you know, her childhood, right? Losing her mother whenever she was young, and then also her first husband killing himself, and losing her first daughter. She's pretty messed up emotionally too, and things she had never healed from, which led to how she was behaving in the relationship as well too. So, which led to us eventually, you know, splitting up, right? It was a huge factor, was, you know, dealing with the issues of a drug addict son, and then the stress put on our marriage because of all of that, and how we were reacting to it because we were unhealed people ourselves, right? So, so what I'm going to talk to you about, let me clean my screen real fast, okay? What I'm going to talk to you about, and this is through my own journey, okay? Typically, kids that grow up like I did, and probably how maybe some of you did, and even some of your children are right now, there are things that happen to you in your childhood that a lot of you guys have never healed from. And time does not heal. Let me say that again. Time does not heal. The only thing that heals is actually doing the emotional work to feel it so you can heal it, right? I didn't know this until a couple years ago, right? So I spent the majority of my life living life with my own demons and my own problems and a war going on inside of me that nobody else knew. The only thing that they knew was that I was an asshole. The only thing that they knew was they couldn't say certain things around me because I would pop, right? Just literally pop off, right? And, you know, I was that friend that you had to warn your other friends about if I was coming over, right? Because, like, hey, don't say anything about this if Damon's coming because he'll lose his shit kind of thing, right? And then when we were going through the issues with the boy, you know, when he's all the drama, if you've ever dealt with a drug addict before, okay, imagine living with one every single day and all the drama that you deal with on a daily basis, and you have other kids that you have to protect and take care of, right? But you have one that's bringing in drugs into the house, one that's coming in fucked out of their mind every single day, one that is breaking every damn rule in the book, one that is completely a rebel to everything, doesn't follow any directions, constantly just a toxic person and environment, right? It's very, very stressful in a family, okay? So it not only didn't like affected like our marriage, right? It affected all the other children too, right? So, because there's 4 of them in total, right? But anyways, here's what I've learned through this journey, right? And this is actually why I'm glad the situation happened. So my wife and I ended up splitting up, right? And I ended up going into a deep dive. I'm huge into personal development and stuff like that, right? But one of the things that I had never really done is actually dig in and actually heal from like all my childhood shit, which a lot of us have. Like if you grew up in a single parent household, in a divorcee household, in a household where you were abused or abandoned, or maybe even verbally abused growing up, okay, you're fucked up emotionally, okay? And typically, kids that grow up fatherless like I did, right, they typically end up in 3 places, right? Kids that grow up and where their father is not involved, or there was a really nasty divorce, or maybe they were abused or abandoned, right? I had, you know, mine was a fatherless situation, okay? 100%, right? Never knew him, never met him, never nothing, right? And when you have these situations, and it's super, super, super important for a boy to have his father heavily invested in his life, because it is the father that really teaches them how to be a man, right? Teaches them discipline and structure and right and wrong, and they need that love from that father figure. Otherwise, they feel unloved, unwanted, rejected, like they're not good enough, unworthy, right? Which leads to them acting out in very, very negative ways. Now, you take that same child, you fast forward it, right, to adulthood, and what ends up happening is they usually end up in one of 3 places. They end up in jail, right? They end up drug addicts, or they end up dead. It's literally, that's the only places that people like me, right, and like my boy, that's usually how they end up. Statistically speaking, if you look at like the majority of the people who are in prisons, it's like almost 80% are fatherless children. Okay, they come from fatherless homes. Okay, and the science and studies prove that the father is the most important parent when it comes to keeping your kid out of jail, keeping your kid in line, right? Because a single father raising the kids has a very similar effect on the children as having a 2-parent home. Did you know that? Yeah. But it's not the same when it's a single mother home. Single mother home, drug addicts, dead, jail. Those are typically where they end up. Now, back to why I'm teaching you this. The reason why I'm telling you this is because there's a lot of people with addictions going on. Like right now, just in my family alone, okay, in my circle, we have our son, okay, one of our really, 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 really great friends, who used to be an addict a long time ago, completely relapsed and is full on like addict right now, like to the point to where we literally like had to like cut her off, right? Like separate ourselves from it, because like we've been doing this with the boy for, you know, now we're about almost 9 years now, right? And I'm like, we ain't doing this with a 40-something-year-old woman, right? And then on top of that too, we also have another family member that's in their 40s, same exact thing, and we're like, we ain't doing this, right? We're already doing this with our boy, we ain't doing it with you too. So we just gotta, you know, draw those boundaries, right? But something I want to teach you here. The reason why drug addicts are addicts, if you've really been listening to the behind what I was saying, okay, the reason why addicts are because they are hurt. They have unresolved emotional issues, trauma, problems they've never, ever, ever, ever healed from, okay? So, for example, let's take my boy, right? So, he was adopted, right? So he already right there feels like he's unwanted, unloved, nobody wanted him, his parents didn't want him, they gave him up, and no matter how much love we give him, no matter how much love my wife gives him, he still subconsciously feels like he's not good enough, he's not wanted, and he was basically abandoned by both parents, okay? Then, fast forwarded a couple years, right? Then, the father that actually adopted him kills himself. Now, all those feelings that he was already having, right, now just got multiplied. Because now, he for sure feels like, all right, nobody wants me, I'm unloved, I'm unwanted, rejected, whatever. All these really, really deep-seated emotions, right? And they're harboring these internally, like I did too when I was a kid, right? Felt these exact same emotions. The difference is that we cope differently, right? And I actually went down that path of drugs, right? Not to the addiction standpoint, but definitely partying way too many nights a week standpoint, right? Like, I was definitely doing a lot of escaping, right? You know, Friday, Saturday, sometimes Wednesday through Saturday, right? Didn't have like an addiction per se. I was only, you know, partying, you know, drug use kind of thing. Got me in a lot of trouble too, right? So, but what I'm trying to get at here is, behind whoever it is, the people that you have that have drug problems, what is behind this? Maybe it's you. Maybe it's you. Maybe somebody's sending you this video because you are the problem. Well, I don't want to say you're the problem, but you are the one with the drug problem, right? Behind your desire for use is unhealed emotions. And until you heal from this shit, you will always be a user. If it's not drugs, it's going to be alcohol. If it's not alcohol, it's going to be food. Okay? Prime example. People who have been sexually abused, females especially, tend to be really, 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 really heavy food addicts. Right? So typically, like, if you see like a really, really heavy woman, many times, more times often than not, she's been sexually abused. Okay? So, and that's how they cope, was their drug is sugar, right? And that's also a way that they kind of keep people at a distance, right, as well too, to protect themselves. They try and subconsciously try and make themselves like building like a force field, right, with that body, right, to keep people away so they're not attractive to other people, right? It's on a subconscious level. And they're also coping with food, right? So when it comes to drug use, you got to heal from your shit. So how do you heal? Okay, how do you heal? It's real simple, okay? It's just one sentence, okay? You got to feel it to heal it, all right? And I didn't learn this till a couple years ago, like I said, because I actually had to learn this whenever my wife and I split up. I went through this marriage course, and I was in it. It was a very, very intense one for like a year. And one of the main things that they teach you is how to heal. Because literally every single dude that's in this program, right, is there because they're emotionally fucked up. Most of them from childhoods too, right, which cause them to behave in specific ways in their relationships whenever there's stressful things going on or whenever there's problems in the relationship, right? Okay? One of many, right? And one of the main things that they teach is how to heal, right? So I spent a good solid 8 months doing work every single day, healing, okay, from my childhood, from, you know, because the thing is when you're emotionally fucked up, not only are you fucked up from your childhood experiences, you're also fucked up because of those negative emotions that you've been harboring have also led to other bad decisions and problems that you have created in your life because of those emotions. So not only did I have to heal from my childhood shit, I had to heal from a lot of other things that I had done because of the way that I had felt, right? So when it comes to drug use and addiction, you have to get to the root of what's causing you to want to use, want to escape, wanting to numb, right? And it's coming from unresolved emotional shit. You have to heal from your shit, regardless of what it is. And the good news is you can. Now, men and women, we heal differently, okay? So for my fellas, let's start with the fellas, because I find it's usually more men that are addicts than females, okay? When it comes to healing for men, we heal very physically and barbarically, okay? So what that means is, for ladies, all they really need to do to heal is to be able to express themselves emotionally and, you know, speak and share and so forth and, you know, let it out and cry and stuff. As men, we tend to suppress these emotions, right? And then it leads to us getting angry and frustrated, right? And then what happens with everybody is that whenever you are suppressing these emotions, what ends up happening is when you get normal outside life stresses, right? It's overwhelming. You can't take it, right? So, for example, like, we'll take Sebastian when he was younger, right? He couldn't handle the stress of people being like, you need to do your homework. It was too much, right? It was too much. He'd just freak out, like, I just couldn't handle it. Normal life stresses is like no big deal. Like, hey, bro, do your homework, right? Couldn't handle it, right? Couldn't handle the normal stresses and requirements of just normal daily life, and that's you. You're harboring all these emotions. What happens is, it's like you have a bunch of anchors. Let's say you're a boat. You have a bunch of anchors that are cast, right? And you're trying to move forward. Whoa! But you got these anchors just dragging across the ground. You're going nowhere, right? Now, start throwing some more people on that boat. Now your motor is like way outworking. What? Right? And then more people. And then what? Right? It's overworking. You just can't help it, right? And then all you want to do is feel good for a moment. You want to escape these negative feelings and all this overwhelm that you're feeling. So you run to food, you run to alcohol, you run to drugs, you run to pills, you run to fucking meth, you run to heroin, whatever it is, right? Because you just want to not feel that, right? So you want to not feel bad. You want to not feel the anxiety, right? You're just basically numbing, escaping, right? So, you have to heal your shit. And the way that you heal your shit... Now, men, like I said, we do it kind of very barbarically. There's a few ways of doing it, but here's my favorite 2 things to do, because you can do them like this. Okay? Like this. It's super easy to do. Okay? Number 1, whenever we are hurt, whenever we got problems, we tend to harbor a lot of anger and frustration, right? Underneath that is actually a lot of hurt and a lot of pain. Okay? So, let's take me, for example, right? So, because of my whole fatherless situation, I was very, very angry all the time, right? And I try to cover it with smile and positivity and stuff, but I was getting triggered every single day, multiple times a day, from random people, random things, social media, everything. The kids, like, you get triggered and I lose my shit, okay? But for the most part, I was happy, smiley, positive, right? But I would lose my shit in the drop of a hat, okay? So, and that's what happens, right? You got all this right here bottled up, right? And it just takes boom and pow, you just lose your shit, right? And it's automatic, uncontrollable, okay? Automatic. There's literally no control. And it's, and like I said, it's like taking like a champagne bottle, right? And shaking it up and then just any moment, boom, right? So when you start to actually heal, right? All that starts to calm down. You start to get more relaxed. You start to get more peaceful, right? You're ending that war within, but it takes time, okay? Now, here's my favorite 2 things to do to heal for men, okay? Number 1, I call it, well, actually, number 1 is boxing, okay? Like I said, like, there's always a lot of anger and frustration on the top, right? But beneath all that's a lot of pain, okay? So, we tend to get frustrated and angry really, really easy as men, right? A lot of it has to do with our testosterone, things like that, right? So it tends to be how we respond to it, right? So you have to let it out. So the key phrase is you have to feel it to heal it, all right? If you do not heal from your bullshit, you're going to be an addict for the rest of your life until you die, okay? You hear me? Okay, because I'm sure somebody sent you this video, all right? Now, the way that you heal, one way, is to let the anger out. It's real simple. Just think about it. Boxing, right? Go buy a heavy bag. Go to a gym that has a heavy bag, right? Or put your pillow on a freaking bed and then just let it out. Like, and just hit it as hard as you can, long as you can. Let it out, right? Let all the anger, let all the frustration, let it out till you just can't even breathe anymore, right? Rest, recover, repeat. And you keep doing that until there's nothing left. There's no more anger, no more frustration. You keep doing it, okay? That's one way. The second way, okay, see where I am right now? In my car, okay? My truck, actually, right? It's called the car scream. And it's exactly that. And it sounds very fucking psychotic, and it kind of is. But it's just how we got to do it as men. In order to release the anger and the frustration and the problems that we have to let this shit out. Let it out. Because if you hold it in, it's going to come out in other ways, and it's going to lead you right back to the pills, bottle, problems, and all the other shit. Okay? So, you have to just let it out. So go sit in the car, go sit in the parking lot, go drive down the freeway. What I typically like to do is if something's, especially when I was going through the healing journey, I was having to do this every day. Okay? Between boxing and the car scream, every fucking day. Okay? Because I had thousands and thousands of layers of just anger and frustration and pain and problems that I had been suppressing my entire life. I didn't even realize how fucked up I was until I started peeling the layers away. And I was like, oh my God, I am so fucked up. Like, I literally went to my wife at one point, which we were separated at the time, and I told her, I'm like, I'm so fucked up. If you came to me right now and said, hey, let's work it out, I would tell you no. Because I'm too fucked up. I'm not dateable at this point. I'm not dateable. I got like months more work to do. Like, I'm not even close to being dateable. I don't even know how you married me. I'm like, I'm fucked up, right? So, because it was literally 4 decades of shit in my life, right? So, but anyways, so you drive down the street and you just, and just let it out, okay? Let it out, all right? And when you let it out and you get out all this anger and you get out all this frustration and you get out all this stuff, what you're going to find is once you peel those layers, there's pain underneath there. There's hurt. Okay? Now, what's the rule when it comes to healing? You got to heal it or feel it to heal it, right? So, after you peel out these layers of the anger and frustration, right, which you're going to have a lot, there's going to be hurt underneath there, okay? So if you got to feel it to heal it, what does that mean? You got to let that out, okay? And here's a little something. I want to switch your perspective real quick, okay? A lot of you feel like you're being strong because you're not allowing yourself to feel feelings, right? You're not allowing yourself to cry. You're not allowing yourself to feel the emotions. You're like, I'm trying to be strong in this situation. And you're trying to be all stone-faced, like poker face, right? You're actually being a coward. What? Yeah, you're a coward. Coward, okay? True strength is knowing that you got stuff to fix and surrendering to it and allowing yourself to feel it so you can heal it, okay? That is true strength. It takes more strength to allow yourself to feel these emotions and to allow yourself to go through them than it does to suppress it. So if you're suppressing it, you're being a coward. Okay? You have to release that shit. So what's going to happen is you peel the layers of anger and pain. Okay? And it's very similar for the ladies. You guys don't carry as much anger and pain as we do, though. Anger and frustration. So anyways, underneath that's the hurt, right? So at some point, it's going to open up a door. And there's going to be a memory of something, an emotion from something, something that you're going to feel, something that you completely even forgot about. Okay? And you need to roll with it. Surrender to it. Let it out. Remember, you got to heal it or feel it to heal it, right? So whatever it is, let it out. Cry your fucking eyes out, okay? Cry. Ugly face cry. You know that one. Ugly face cry. Let that shit out and keep letting it out and letting it out and letting it out. I don't care if it takes you fucking 3 hours. Let it out until there's nothing left, okay? And what you're going to find is when you start to heal all this stuff, right? You're going to have thousands of layers of stuff, right? Like I did, right? You're going to peel a layer, right? You're going to start to get emotional. Then you may find another layer of anger and frustration there, right? From a completely different event, right? Let the shit go. Let it out, let it out, let it out, right? And then it's going to open up another door, something you forgot about. That girlfriend that cheated on you 20 years ago, right? You completely forgot about. You haven't even been thinking about. You're still hurt from it because you never heal, because it never goes away until you heal from it. Time doesn't heal. Only intentional releasing of the emotions heals. Do you hear me? Okay. So, you have to do regular daily work. And the thing is you're going to have days where you're going to get triggered, right? You're going to get triggered by something somebody says because they're going to say something that's going to trigger one of those old wounds, right? Go hop in your car, go to the gym, and deal with it, right? Do the emotional work, okay? That's what doing the emotional work is, okay? So you got to deal with it because the root of why people are drug addicts are these unresolved emotions they've never healed from. So if they want to stop being an addict, right? And here's really how I feel, okay? I'm all about men being strong, men being men, okay? And if you are one of these people who is running, right, from your emotions and coping through drugs and alcohol, you too are being a coward. You're being weak, right? So, right? So take control of yourself, deal with your shit, heal from your shit, and you'll take more control over your shit. Now, for you ladies, you guys heal differently. I just mentioned it a minute ago. You guys heal by expressing yourself, right? If you got a good girlfriend that'll listen, you guys get a lot of your healing done just through being able to talk and communicate about it. But when it comes to you being able to heal, one of the easy ways for you guys to do it, so you can also do it in private, is get a journal, right? And every night when the kids go to bed, when you find some privacy, go down in your car, go somewhere where there's no one who's going to interrupt you so you can get in tune with your emotions, okay? Because you guys have a lot of shit you got to heal from too. That divorce, that dad that was never around, that dude who cheated on you, right? You still are carrying that shit, and it's affecting every single decision and behavior that you have every single day, okay? So the easy way for the ladies to do it is get a journal, right? Every day, just journal how you feel about whatever situation. As the emotions come up, right? Let them out. Same thing. Got to feel it to heal it, right? So as they come out, let them out. Or as they come up, let them out, right? So something happens, you remember that boyfriend that cheated on you, fucking cry your eyes out. Ugly face cry. That one. Yeah, do it. Okay? Till there's nothing left. And make a habit of doing this emotional work every single day, right? Every single day. And you will find you will be emotionally healthy. You have a drug problem, your drug problem is going to go away. You're going to have more control over yourself. Because here's the thing. When you heal, there's a peace and a calm within you, right? And I know because I've taken myself on this own. It took me 8 solid months of doing this healing shit every single day intentionally before I felt like one day I was like, wow, I actually feel emotionally healthy. Wow, this feels amazing. I feel so calm and at peace. And I'd never had calm and peace before. I was always just wound up, like just like all the time, right? So I know firsthand how it feels to heal, especially with living 40 plus years being fucked up emotionally, okay? Which a lot of you guys are, right? You never healed from the things that happened in your childhood. When those kids used to pick on you because you were fat, and that kid used to bully you, you still carrying shit from that, okay? And it's affecting how you behave, okay? So you got to heal from your shit. So you got to heal it to feel it. And that is my lesson for you today. Share this with whoever might be going through an addiction problem. And so that way they know that they need to work on themselves and heal from their bullshit. Otherwise, you're going to be an addict for the rest of your life. Okay? And you're either going to die on the streets, or you're going to be able to turn it around and become a success story that's going to help other people pull out of this journey, right? Or pull out of this problem, right? This is something I've been trying to teach my boy for a long time, but I haven't even seen him. You know, he's living on the streets right now, so I haven't even seen him. And it's probably been like a year, right? My wife sees him occasionally because he calls randomly when he gets a phone from random people sometimes because he don't have a phone. And sometimes she'll go meet up with him and stuff. And but I've been trying to teach him this same thing, you know, after I learned it. But by that point, you know, he was already on the streets. So it was like, the past couple times that I have seen him, I was trying to teach him this, but he was so fucked up out of his mind. It was like talking to a wall, you know, not hearing a word. So I'm trying to help you guys now, so that way you can catch your people before they get to that point, right? So, or before they get to the point where it ends it all for good, you know? So I'm trying to share this with you. Just know that at the root of addiction, unresolved emotional problems, it is not a disease. Okay, that bullshit theory that they came up with back in 1939 is horseshit. Okay, it is not a fucking disease. It is completely 100% emotionally driven. Emotionally driven. Okay? Heal from your shit, and you won't be an addict. Got it? Let's go.